While we're waiting on the shoulder pieces, we're gonna move on to the actual overall costume. And to start off with, we're basically going to start with this. We're going to basically start with a blank slate, and that is our t-shirt. You can get a black t-shirt. I actually got this one from the craft store for like $3. I guarantee you can find one for about that price or even cheaper. Then, what we're gonna need is actually some fabric, some black fabric. It doesn't have to be specifically spot on the same color because the black fabric we're going to use is basically going to cover him. But this is what we're going to use to kind of create our Grim Reaper-y kind of look. I have 2 yards, and we're going to do 2 things with this, and I'll explain the second part a little bit later. But what we're going to do with this is we're going to drape it pretty much along the shoulders. So we're going to get in a straight line like across the shoulders to kind of give it that little flowy look that we want. So we're going to start in the middle, kind of look, go around, if I don't drop it. So we want it to be kind of on the shoulder a little bit, and then we'll hold it with some safety pins in the meantime. And then you'll see I have quite a bit extra, which I don't waste on this channel because one, I'm a broke bitch, and I know that not everyone wants to waste money on some excess fabric. So we're gonna utilize this later, and I'm gonna show you. But first, we wanna get the t-shirt to the exact level that we want it. What we're gonna do is we're actually going to reduce the neckline on this. And I'm gonna cut off this part. We don't want it, we want it to be more like this. We don't want it to be like, oh, on the neck. We're gonna take a silver marker, which you can find a silver Sharpie like anywhere for like $1. And you're gonna be surprised at how often you use a silver Sharpie. And we're gonna kind of figure out where we want the placement or to start our cutting. And that's why I have it on Vincent, so we can see this a little bit better. So my favorite thing to do is actually, I'm gonna look on both sides and kind of eye where I want them. So right here is where I'm probably gonna start the cut. I'm gonna make a little dash there, and I wanna evenly make that work. So right there-ish. Now notice the neckline here, we don't want it to go too down here. The reason being is because we also have that fabric being draped across of it. So we want something to fasten that too. So we're probably just gonna cut like right under the neck. So let's put a little dash there. Now the best way to do this to kind of get a good feel of it is kind of just little by little make your way to the middle. So we're gonna add a dash here, and then slowly make your way to the middle, so that way it gets as even as possible and you have like a good line to cut from. And on the back, it doesn't matter as much because it's not necessarily gonna show too much, especially when we put on the shoulder pieces. So really we're just gonna continue the cut and maybe just do like more of a straight kind of look line across the back. So now what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to cut open the neck. It doesn't have to be perfect because this is going to be kind of hidden anyways when we put the shoulder pieces on. This is just to kind of give the neck openness. So if it comes out a little bit iffy, don't be upset, we're covering it anyways. Okay, so we have Vincent's new neckline here, and I'm super excited. I think this looks really good so far. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted more shoulder, a lot more neck. It's not like right here constraining. The next thing you're gonna need is you're going to need your fabric, one. You're also going to need some clothespins so that we can hold the fabric up. And then you're also going to need some needle and thread. You could also hot glue the fabric on there, but I'm gonna say use needle and thread if you want it to hold better. Now I'm not saying you should go in and stitch the whole thing all the way around. What I'm gonna propose is that we do what I'm gonna call, I don't know if there's a term for this, I'm not a seamstress, I don't really do this, but I know how to sew things like a button on. But I'm basically going to do the button method, or what I'm gonna deem the sew point method, where we're going to put some really heavy thread in specific areas. So I plan on starting in the middle, specifically on parts that are gonna move around a lot. You want those to be the parts that hold on the most. So probably the shoulders you're probably gonna want like maybe here, and then you're definitely gonna want some in the middle, and then a couple in the back. Now I got 2 yards of black fabric, and this is like really cheap fabric. It doesn't have to be expensive. I believe I've seen costumes made out of this fabric. I actually got this from Walmart. I just stumbled across it and found out they have a fabric section, and it's really cheap, really easy. If you go to the craft store and it's cheap there too, go there, use that. I just happened to be there at the time and stumbled across this fabric, so that's what we're going to use. Now I'm trying to map out exactly where I want it. I want it to kind of match up where the shoulders meet. So I want to make sure that it's all like really even when I do this. So maybe when I do the stitching, I'm going to do it right in the middle, and I'm going to put a clothespin, if I could open it, right there. So there's our first clothespin. So we're going to do the same thing on the shoulder and try to get it as tight, but don't go too tight, but tight as possible. Enough to where you'd know where the material would stretch a little bit. It will be covered up, so if you make a mistake or there's like a little bit of slack, it's not an issue. But this will just prevent it being using too much fabric. So now we have our fabric placed onto the shirt, exactly where we want it. What we're gonna do is we're actually gonna cut a line, cut this excess fabric off. You wanna get it probably as clean as possible. Maybe leave a little bit extra. Extra would be nice because that way it gives you a little bit of working room. Now that we have that, we can finally sew on the parts that we want to do. So my thought is the first point that we should probably start is the middle points. And here's where you're gonna need your needle and thread. I have some, actually this is navy blue. I got the wrong thread. You want black thread. All right, back to the right thread. You're gonna have black thread and obviously your needle. And we're basically just gonna sew in our first little point. And then we're gonna start just kind of sewing as if you're making a button. It doesn't have to be clean, it doesn't even have to look good, but just kind of start sewing in that spot. Now if you're really good at sewing, then this is probably gonna be like easy for you. But if you're not good at sewing, you don't have to really worry about it. You don't have to sit there and stress about, oh, it's gotta be perfect, because it doesn't. I mean, obviously be careful if you're really bad at sewing like me. You don't want to stab yourself like I nearly just did. This may look a little bit floppy, but I had to take out one of Vincent's arms because the curve was just messing with me. The next step is pretty simple. Basically, all you're gonna need is, well, the fabric that's already on there and some scissors. So the idea is we're going to have pretty much this imaginary line somewhere pretty close to where we stitched it, maybe right around here-ish on the fabric. So you got about an inch length of fabric, and we're gonna cut all the way up to that spot. So, and you want to try to keep them relatively even. The idea for this is really because I wanted another way to have a Grim Reaper look without being Grim Reaper-y, and it still be kind of flowy and it being kind of fun and freeing, and your arms aren't going to be stuck kind of like this. I'm probably going to do about, I don't know, like, what is that, about an inch? About an inch size strips all the way around. So you may have had some fun doing this, thinking that these little stitchings took forever. I feel like this part's probably gonna be the most tedious part of the entire costume. But after that, it gets fun, I swear. At least I think so. I mean, obviously I haven't made this yet, but I can only assume it's gonna be fun. Okay, so I have the first little strip done, and I've switched scissors. I think smaller scissors are actually gonna do better since it's kind of more, they're smaller, so they don't have as far to reach, so you can kind of just keep going up as you go. So let's see if that does better. And just like that, we have straps. Look at all the straps, yay! All right, so I know it still kind of looks like a mess, and you know, that makes me a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I still have confidence that this costume is gonna look really cool, especially because look how great these turned out. Oh my gosh. All right, look at that already. It's already adding a bajillion lovely touches to this. Oh, look at that, that's so cute. I've been racking my brain trying to figure out how to get the shoulder pieces to kind of stay where I want them to. And I think what is gonna happen is I'm going to take that extra fabric that we had from when we cut up this, and then we're gonna turn that into a nice little shoulder shawl. Now first things first, what I pretty much wanna do is I wanna get a nice hole right in the middle. I don't know if I want to go right in the middle now I think about it, but I want to go close to the middle. Okay, so now we have messy floor cam on the ground here, as you can see. And I'm trying to kind of measure out where I want everything. I think I want this edge, the cleaner edge, to be on the front and the more messier edge to be on the back. So I'm thinking with the head, we're probably going to want to make a wide incision. And luckily, since this was folded in half, it has a nice crease, so I know where the middle of this is. And then I'm just going to cut a nice wide incision here. And then I might cut just the equal amount the opposite way without cutting the carpet. That would be really nice. And then I'm thinking, because we have to get it over a head, we should probably cut a little bit forward and we'll cut a little bit back. Now what I have are a ton of these black feathers, which I actually got from the craft stores. I got from Michael Craft. And it looks like they come in like a bunch of different sizes and things like that. So I have a ton of these black feathers, as well as this feather boa, which will probably be more along for the neck. I'm not exactly sure yet. We'll see as we go. Let's get started at least looking at how this should line up. So I'm looking at these feathers, and they're kind of like good, decent size. Like, look at that. That's like a decent size feather. But the best plan, I think, for this would be to start from the back to front. Actually, maybe we should do that way. Let's do that. I think that would look nicer than that. Maybe we could do both. I think what we should do is we'll start this way. We'll start downwards. I think downwards looks nicer. And then we could make a collar of feathers like that. Ah, look at us figuring things out as we go. Now since this fabric is very, very light and it literally, I could, like, if I lift it up, I could see through it. Most likely when you glue things to it, it's gonna seep through to the other side. So my plan is to basically take a paper plate and I'm gonna use the back of it and I'm just going to basically kind of put it underneath here. So that way it doesn't seep onto the clothes underneath. I want to start the feathers this way. So I'm thinking we go this way and then we'll get the feathers going this way and then we'll just go down. I just realized I dropped all the other glue on the ground. So I need to get the other glue stick. Where'd you go? In retrospect, I'm realizing when I originally said I should start from the top, I had them facing upward. Now that they're facing downward, I probably should have started from the bottom. Because notice that all these are now looking pretty and nice, and I would be ruining it if I glued it on top. So now I'm gonna have to sit there and try to figure out how to get glue and nice feather look to go down. I might just start from the bottom and work my way up. All right, so clearly this is gonna take a very long time. So I'm just gonna shut the camera off and then finish this and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so now I had the feathers placed on there. And as I was playing with it, I was realizing I really don't like this kind of straight look. And I don't really want to cut it either. But what I discovered when I was kind of messing with it is if I kind of fold this fabric along the line like so, and kind of do that, and then do it on this side, it kind of makes this really fun V shape. And I'm gonna take a safety pin. Oh, I'm gonna drop everything in the process. And just like that, we have like a new kind of neckline that kind of plays off itself. And let's get the skulls. The piece de resistance that's going to, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my gosh. That looks so cool already. This shape is like everything to me right now. Now also, I have these feather boas that I got from the craft store also, and I figured this would save me a ton of time. So I'm thinking maybe if I line kind of where the neckline is, you can hide errors. And now we're probably not gonna need the entire thing. We're probably gonna end up cutting this. Let's see what this looks like with the skulls. Ooh, it's looking fluffy. I like that. I think that looks really cool. Now this one has this like loop here, I don't know if you can see what I'm showing you, but it has this like cool loop. And what I'm planning on doing is taking this end and shoving it through the loop. And that kind of makes like a little ring. I'm curious to see what that'll do. I'm thinking what we might be able to do with the little skulls we have here is we might be able to like interlace this through some of the points we have here. Trying to do this without destroying the shoulder piece. Ooh, you know, I like this because it looks kind of very tribal-ish if we kind of do it this way. This skull is just gonna be bare and let's see, if you put that there. What we might be able to do actually is we might be able to take our thread and needle and actually like kind of sew this into the neckline, and that might be easier than hot gluing it. The fact that the feathers are kind of messy is kind of cool too, because it kind of adds an element of just kind of death to it, because like death is messy. I'm going to do the skulls first. I know I'm all over the place, but that's how my process works. Now, you might see some nails, and most people would be like, why the fuck are you using nails on this costume? I know it's not wood and anything like that, but I have these little tiny nails. But notice how these nails are really short. They're very short, but they also have a little bit of a head on them. So that way they don't just go straight through and it'll tug on the cloth. So that way if I put them through the cloth, my hope is that they'll stay through and just hold onto the cloth. I don't know if that made sense. I think I'm just saying stuff. Just by guesstimating, be careful because these are nails and they are sharp. I'm going to find the spot where one of the skulls meets the cloth. And I'm just gonna shove the nail in. Oh, that was rather easy. I expected a little bit of a fight. Now let's test the security of this. All right, that seemed to work pretty well. All right, to be honest, that's half of our sewing done because this is attached to the boa. So really, I don't think I'm going to, I don't really think I'm gonna sew much other than right here. I'm just gonna sew right here in this corner. I'm just gonna do like a quick stitch around. That'll be quick as hell. I'm gonna cry, I'm so excited. All right, I'm almost done with this look, guys. I mean, for the most part, this is gonna be what it looks like. The last thing we have to do now is basically get the other skull on. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna try the same method I did with the other side. Oh my God, guys. Oh my God. I love it so much. Oh gosh. All right, and you know, if you want to, you could add some more feathers like around, like maybe hot glue some feathers on the skulls a little bit more. To be honest though, like I'm so happy with how this has turned out. Oh my gosh. I mean, all right, so I just want to do a quick little update about this. After I put those nails in, some of them actually fell out. And I thought that's a little bit dangerous. So what I ended up doing was I took most of the nails out and I hot glued the nails into it. So like if you notice, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's hot glue holding the nail into place. So this is not going anywhere. I did it to both this side and this side. So little update, I wanted to let you know what I did. So that way if you guys do something similar, you should probably heed my warning. Realize the failure as it goes. I'm loving this. I love it so much. What do you think, Vincent? Who asked you anyways? Well, thank you guys for joining me on this adventure of a lifetime. I had zero expectation for this to actually look as good as it does. I'm actually gonna do a separate video which shows the makeup and the headpiece. I haven't done either of them, so I don't know what they're gonna look like. Don't forget, you can find me on all my socials. It's down in the description below. It's just like a click away. Just scroll down slightly and like click on them and you'll find me in there somewhere. So until next time, little angels of death,